Hey, what's up, 819S? Long time no see. So I have some big news, some sad news, but big news. I had a motorcycle accident. I was hit by a car. Basically what happened, just like you can see right in front of me now probably, traffic was pretty backed up. There was tons of cars, maybe double or triple the number of cars you see now. And so like that scooter up there, I was passing people on the left hand side, and as I'm passing, I'm kind of watching everyone carefully to make sure no one's got turn signals on, or I guess for lack of a better word, body language of the car. It looks like they're not about to turn or something like that. I was reading the traffic, and when I got right next to the car, suddenly he decided to turn left and smashed right into us. My wife was on the back of the bike at the time. No injuries, and we didn't actually crash, like we didn't fall. The bike didn't tumble to the ground. Nobody came off the bike. No one went flying. There was nothing like that. The car hit us. It kind of crushed my foot between the engine and the car body, and the car realized he hit us before he made the complete turn. Basically the front tire of his car hit my foot, and he was driving like a big old station wagon. And we pulled over immediately, called the police. The police said what I did was not illegal, what I did was not wrong. Passing like that is fine, but the police officer's personal advice is not to do it because it can be dangerous. There are a lot of accidents like that in Japan, and it basically caused me to rethink my strategy on lane filtering or lane splitting, at least when my wife is on the bike, because, you know, I'm responsible for another person when she's on the bike. I don't want to be injured or killed or anything myself, of course, but basically I think when I'm filtering now, I'm only going to do it when everyone is completely stopped. It'll reduce the chances of that kind of event happening again. Maybe if there's a lot of streets or a lot of places where people can turn, I'll just be patient and wait in the traffic behind the cars, just because I don't want to go through this whole experience again. Let me walk you through a little bit of the other points of a Japanese accident. So first, let me explain there are two types of accidents. I didn't know this prior to the accident. One is called a bussonjiko. It means a private property or property damage accident. The other one is called jinshinjiko, which means personal injury accident. I don't understand completely clearly or 100% yet. I haven't dug in to do all the research, but if it's just a property damage accident, usually there's no points and there's not that big of trouble. The insurance companies deal with each other about what the settlement would be, about who was at fault for the accident, because that determines how much the insurance companies are willing to pay to repair any potential damage. And jinshinjiko, a personal injury accident, especially one that involves ambulance or things like that, is when you start to get points taken off of your license, and when things seem to get a little bit more strict and a little bit more severe. Don't quote me on those. I know those are the two types of accidents, but I don't know if those are the repercussions of them perfectly yet. I have to do a little more study. Initially, at my accident, the police recommended, and the other driver recommended, that I go to the hospital to have my foot looked at. I've been a skateboarder, BMXer, mountain biker. I've done all kinds of extreme sports for a long time. And I'm not saying that I'm a doctor. Of course, I'm not a doctor, but I kind of know how to assess how severe an injury is, because I've had dozens, if not hundreds, of injuries in my life. And so I believed that I didn't need to go to the hospital. So I told the police at that time, and they said that's no problem. You could always go to the hospital at a later date if you feel the injuries are not getting any better, or if you feel like you were mistaken in your self-diagnosis. But then it will change from a property damage accident to a personal injury accident if you do go. So about 2 days later, my wife and I decided to go based on some what I consider bad advice. I was 95% sure that it was just a sprain on my foot and there was no severe injury or damage. There was nothing I would need to worry about. Say 10 years later it's going to flare up again or anything. I still don't think so. But the doctor, of course, the doctor basically just did an x-ray, and the x-ray showed there's no damage, there's no broken bones, there's nothing serious, it's just a sprain. They gave me what Japanese call shippu, which is like a medicated compress. It's a, I don't know, it looks kind of like a big band-aid. You stick it on your part of your body that has pain, and it has some medicine in it, and the medicine slowly, you know, slowly goes through your skin into the inflicted area. It's not really painkiller as far as I understand, but I don't really use it. The doctor put it on my foot, and I used it once when I got home, and then I haven't used them since. I don't really like medicine. Now is about 1 week after the accident, and all the swelling's completely gone. It's still a little bit tender. I walked on it. I've walked 7 kilometers twice so far. I had to take my bike to the shop to have it looked at by the insurance company, so I walked home from the motorcycle shop to my house. It's about a 7-kilometer walk, and then I walked back to pick it back up. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. They think I should take the bus or take the train, but 7 kilometers, it's not that far. It was like an hour and 10-minute walk or something. But the few days following the accident were really, really hectic. There was tons and tons of phone calls between us and the other guy's insurance company. Then after a few days, us and my insurance company, and then the insurance companies called each other, and then they called us, and then we had to fill out a ton of documents and paperwork. Yeah, it was a kind of a, you know, bureaucracy at its finest, but nothing really too difficult. It's just a lot of things you have to do. So I want to walk you through the after accident. We pulled over immediately. I think 5 meters from where the accident took place, and we looked around for the car that had hit us because we couldn't find it. My foot hurt. I was a little bit scared to walk on it just because I wasn't sure of the condition at that point, so I thought it would be better if I just sat where I was. We couldn't see where the car had pulled over, and basically just kind of shocked that it had happened and didn't know what to do, and sat there for a few minutes. Then I assessed my foot. It's swollen. I didn't think it was broken at that point. I could wiggle all my toes. I didn't have any numbness. I didn't have any sharp pains. I could put pressure on it, and I don't know. Basically, I went through all the tests that a doctor would do. I checked my ankle to make sure there was still support at the ankle. There was nothing loose there. Anyways, self-diagnosis, I was okay. And so I started walking around looking for the car, walked backwards to see if he had turned down the road, and walked forward to see if he had turned at the next street. Couldn't really see the car. I knew the car that had hit us. I had seen it. You know, it's like one of those slow motion movie moments where it's like 1 second before impact, 2 seconds before impact, you can see it's coming, but there's nothing you can do to stop it. You just do your best to make sure that you get out of it as safely as possible. And yeah, we couldn't really find him. I didn't know what the driver looked like. I don't really look at drivers in the cars too much. I wasn't sure if it was a man or a woman, an old person, a young person, no idea. And then finally the guy came up to us and he said, "Hey, you know, I'm the one that you just had an accident with. I'm the one who hit you," whatever. Don't remember his exact phrasing. And we said, okay. And you know, is your car okay? Are you guys okay? Is there any injuries? And the guy said you should really call the cops, and then you should go to the hospital because your foot looks pretty bad. And I said, no, my foot's okay. And my wife called the cops. Probably 5 minutes or so later, about full 5 minutes, police came up on a scooter, or a police scooter went by about 30 seconds after we made the call. I thought, wow, that was fast. But about 5 minutes after that, a police car came, and 2 police came and started to interview and kind of assess the situation. Then another police car came. I think total 3 police cars came, and there were about 7 officers there, basically interviewing us, interviewing the other guy, writing up the report. One cool thing that happened that I don't remember ever happening in accidents that I've seen in America is the police had a card, actual like a business card size card, and they told each person involved in the accident exactly what information to write down. So name, telephone numbers, license plate of the car, and then the police officer checked it to make sure that it was accurate, real information. And the police officer exchanged the details between me and the other driver. And then, of course, they took the card from us with our information on it and then gave it to the other driver. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, they were prepared. They had pens and they had the little business cards, and they knew exactly what information should be exchanged. So that was pretty awesome. Cops were very kind, very polite, very patient. I think in our case too, the person who hit us wasn't really confronting us. He wasn't really arguing about what had happened. I don't know, I kept insisting that he didn't have his blinker on, because he didn't have his blinker on. I believe he admitted to the police officers that he didn't have his blinker on, and I think that was really important key, because when my insurance company assessed the situation, they basically said it was 90% his fault, 10% our fault. I don't know how they assessed that. At 90-10, what did I do? I was passing. I wasn't doing anything illegal. I wasn't speeding. I don't know. But anyways, 90-10 means basically it's his fault, so I'm okay with that. I think they work it out into such a degree like that, where it's not like black or white, it's his fault or it's your fault, so they can assess the damages that they're willing to pay. So I think what 90-10 means is his insurance company would have to pay for 90% of the repair, and then my insurance company, or out of my own pocket, I would have to pay 10%. If you know, correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. If it were 50-50, for example, then I would have to pay 50% of the repair, and his company would pay 50% of the repair. And I'm at the pet shop now with my wife. What is that green car? There's a lot of parallels to one of my old accidents. So in my life, I had one motorcycle accident prior to this. It's almost exactly the same, except in the opposite direction. So in America, we drive on the right side of the road. There was a car that wanted to turn left, and there was a car behind the guy turning left. As I was passing along the right side, the car that was waiting suddenly changed lanes, smashed into me. In that case, he was in a big truck, and his truck hit the handlebars of my bike, and the bike lost control, dumped off the side of the road. I tumbled along the side of the road and hit my back into a street sign and broke my back. One of the videos prior, I mentioned that I really like Japan because I feel like the speed limits are so low here compared to America, and that makes driving a little bit safer. I feel like partially it's maturity. Maybe at that time of my accident before, I was going a little bit faster than I should have been. The accident here this time, I don't feel the need to speed. That's why I want a 250. I don't need a big honkin' race bike, because I think I can use it. I think I like to twist the throttle. I like to smash gas pedals. So the low speed limits in Japan keep me keep me from wanting to express that desire. How's that sound? I don't really grab a handful of throttle here the same way I might if I were in America on a wide, long, straight, big road with very little traffic on it. It's easy to speed on those streets, and then even easier to get into trouble having an accident. You know, here I feel like there's so many cars everywhere you go. Even when I go into the countryside sometimes, I'm like, where's all this traffic coming from and where is it all going? I can't understand why there are so many people out here. But that's Japan, and it keeps you kind of, you know, keeps you slow, keeps you safe, keeps you paying attention, keeps you on your toes. If I have to say there's a takeaway or something that I learned from the accident, it's that I should never really get too confident, because of course it's important to have confidence and to be a confident rider, but at the point where, wow, accident? At the point where you feel too confident and you start taking risks is when you start to make mistakes and start to have accidents. I don't think that it was a problem in the case of this accident that I was too confident or that I was doing anything really that I felt was really risky, but I had an accident. And the thing is, I feel like the way I was riding was relatively safe, but the accident still occurred. So I think that's why that's my takeaway, is that I need to be careful always. So that's it for this video, and I hope you guys liked it. I'm back. I hope to make videos minimum once a week. I don't have a set schedule that I've decided on yet, but you know, if I can make a video once a week, then I'll be really happy. And thank you guys so much for your comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Ride safe.